that set up, have that set up. Come on. All right. What up, guys? Drink. So yeah, still working on this same painting. I didn't work on it at all yesterday. I was feeling really bad. I had some crazy ass head congestion and I could not breathe. I had a fucking headache. My eyes were watering, and so I didn't paint anything yesterday. I need to clean off my palette because I did let all my paints get dry. And work on this for a couple hours. I got a show to go to tonight. I'm still really debating on if I should go or not. Like it's a 2.5 hour drive, one way. But I don't know. I really think I should be down there. Just trying to pump myself up to actually make the trip down there. Oh man. So yeah, first thing I really do need to just clean off my palette. Like all of it basically. There's still probably some wet paint up here, but I'll probably just like take all of this stuff off. Like I'm feeling a lot better already, but still not like 100%. That's the only thing that's like making me not want to drive down to this show. Oh man. Yeah, so that's all basically dried up now. Yeah, and that's why I only use like little dabs at a time. Oil paint stretches really far once you start using it, and once you understand how to use it, like it, you can use a little bit of paint to paint a significant area, and so that you're not wasteful. Because most of the time you are going to lose paint due to it drying like this. And so I always tell my students, man, little dabs. Just get little dabs of paint. The tube isn't gonna vanish or disappear or evaporate. If you need more paint, put in another little dab of paint on there. But don't always like load up your palette with so much paint unless you know you're gonna absolutely use it right then. Come on. Maybe I should have did this upstairs in my studio. I always manage to get some paint somewhere it shouldn't be. It always goes where it shouldn't be. And then some people are like, why don't you get a bigger palette, a better palette? I have a bigger palette, a big wood one. Like this one right here, I don't know, it works pretty good. It's kind of old now. I only pay like like $2 or something for this plastic palette. But hey, as long as you scrape it off, it's not too bad. So I've been watching The Get Down on Netflix. That shit is pretty good, Jeff. I think I'm on the last episode. My iPhone keeps telling me your storage is almost full, your data storage is almost full. Like, what the fuck should I do about that? I'm not beefing up my data plan or iCloud plan or whatever that shit is. Alright, let's see. Keys open doors that are road of my high. Dreams on the floor, so I stay in the sky. And I know what makes the world go round, go round. Ooh, ooh. And y'all don't know about that Schoolboy Q, man. Girl, jump in my bank account so I can deposit you. I'm going through withdrawals and I can't afford to lose. I need my bread like it's my birthday. Get my bread like it's the 5th roll. Slice of cheese, piece of lettuce, what it hitting for? Collard greens, I stay giving thanks. Deposit your love, we gon' flood the bank. Pushing weight, never lose. I'm going through withdrawals and I can't afford to lose. Girl, jump in my bank account so I can deposit you. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I could probably find something to soak this tray in. But then you must realize I'm much too lazy for that. That would be like adding a chore. I don't want to add stuff. Oh damn. Much too lazy. I'm switching over to YouTube because I'm getting some comments up here this morning. Hey, good morning. Hello, how's it going, people? Yeah, just getting started by making sure my palette is clean. So I'm doing a dual stream right now. I've been trying this a couple times, especially for the duration of this project that I've been working on. I stream from YouTube and Facebook Live simultaneously, which adds to the stream, I feel. But it's weird, like, cause both links are posted on my Facebook page, so it's all up to the viewer, really, which one you want to watch. If you want to watch the Facebook live stream or the YouTube stream, I think YouTube has my PlayStation camera is way better than my phone camera on an iPhone, but more people watch it on YouTube Live for some reason. Because I got more friends on Facebook Live. I get more viewers on Facebook because I got more Facebook friends. Alright, that's to my satisfaction, I would say. I'm gonna say that's pretty good. So let me just set that down. Just gonna scrape the last little bit of these crumbs, these crummy crumbs into the trash. Ugh. Yeah. All right. So initially what I want to do is, there's not much left for me to work on his face. So I just want to work around this eye a little bit, and this cheek, and his lips. Yeah, so I'm gonna, and his ear too. His ear needs some highlights. So I'm gonna put my darker skin tones on here first. And more than likely I will get to working on her. So I'll work on their skin tones one more time, and then I'll come around and work on the articles of clothing and their hair, and then I'll tighten up the background, and then hopefully I can sign this mofo. Yeah. Then I can sign this thing. Still hours away though, because I'm proficient. Because I'm proficient. Alright, dark skin tones. I really need to get to the supply store. There's a color that I use a lot, and I am currently running out of. And I don't want to do that. So I don't want to run out of that color. Right up, re up, right up. Yeah, gripping on my mani bike. Alright. Not that. Not that. Oh man. So somebody be like, what colors do you use for your skin tones? And then I start listing all the colors I use for my skin tones, and they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, it takes a bit. Well, at least for me, it takes a bit. So these are some of my skin tone colors. So let me get these on the palette real quick. Oh, okay. Look at these. God damn it. Come here. These sons of bitches. They're like little fish. And they all want to fall at the same time. Alright, here. Let's see. A dab of this and a dab of that. A dab of this and a dab of that. A dab of this and a dab of that. dab and dab and dab. Dab this and dab that. Dab this and a dab that. I might even pull out that purple. Alright guys, maybe you guys want to see this part. Yeah. Why? Because it's quite interesting. Oh, let me see. Come here. Storage almost full. Yeah, we know. You constantly say this to me, iPhone. You're constantly telling me that my storage is almost full. I'm just trying to, it's weird, but I'm trying to set this camera on my palette. Yeah. Oh, I broke it. I broke it. Oh, shit. So I'm trying to do this with one hand. Facebook viewers are getting a way different view. Goddamn, YouTube viewers are getting seasick from the camera angles that I'm doing right now. Oh, crap. Hey, say hello to each other, people. iPhone, this is PlayStation camera. PlayStation camera, this is iPhone. Just thought you guys should meet each other since you're going to be working together on my projects. Thank you so much for your cooperations. So, you're new here? How long have you been working? Really? Interesting. Alright, so let's try that. Alright, so let's try this. So, switch the camera. Going back. So I already put a little dab of white. And then I normally, if you can see, I try to start here with the dark colors and then go that way to the lighter browns and reds. Don't always get them that way most of the time. And then you can see here the same thing. It's the white and then it goes lighter colors and then over to the darker pigments over there for the YouTubers. So yeah, so you can see you guys are getting the same shots now. Alright, here you go. So I'm just gonna continue to add some of these colors. Start out with my Van Dyke brown, which is the darkest brown. And put a little dab of Van Dyke brown. Like that. After Van Dyke brown is burnt umber is probably the next darkest pigment. Dang it. A little dab of that. And then probably get some of this burnt sienna. And then my transparent earth orange. Where is that? I should have put that one first. That orange is a little darker than that sienna. And then I started moving into the reds, like this Indian red is pretty dark. This is a pretty rich color. And it says red, but it looks almost totally brown. Like when you apply it on top of some other colors. So I get that Indian red there, and then some light red. Next, light red. This one. Come on, open up, you. God dang. A little dab of that. Dab, dab. A little dab of that. Dab, dab. Alright, underneath that, I'm gonna add, underneath that row, I'm gonna add, some other reds. Let me get this, Vitian red. Put a little dab of this here. Dab. It's really similar to that light red. It just has a little bit stronger pigment to it. And then I'm gonna put some burning ochre here. Like that. And then I'm gonna put some purple up here. Come on. Come on, purple. A little shot of that. A little shot right there. And then on this side, I'm gonna just go ahead and load up. I'm gonna have to put the YouTube camera here. Whoa, camera. Don't fall off the edge. Don't get paint on you either. Damn it. Damn it, YouTube camera. No, you don't want to act right? You don't? Screw it. You got paint on you anyway. Alright, so I'm still gonna take some golden ochre. I keep flipping that camera. I keep flipping the camera. Go back. Put some golden ochre. Just like that. Oh, y'all see I'm rocking the New Balances today. The New Balance. No. No. Put a little bit of that there. That's a flesh tone. It says flesh tone, and then I have one that specifically says Caucasian flesh tone, which is lighter than that other flesh tone. So put a little bit of that there. And then I didn't pull out any Naples yellow. I need some of this. And Naples. Alright. Then I'll put a little bit of raw sienna. And I need some orange. Come on. So, I mean, I haven't even started painting yet. All right. So let's get it. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Get our groove on today, folks. Feel me? Gotta get that groove on today, folks. All right, got some nice fresh colors up there. Looking all spiffy. Looking like it came out of the store like that. Yeah, so you guys can see my spiffy little colors. So, go jump in my bank account so I can deposit you. I'm going through withdrawals and I can't afford to lose. Oh man, that's delicious. That's some high quality H2O. I'm telling you, boy. That's that infused. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Oh, looking for my friend. Hey, what's up, friend? I was looking for you. And there you go. What you was doing? Chilling? Yeah, chilling. Oh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Chilling. So I was reading some stuff. Man, shit. Reading some stuff on religion. Man, that shit will blow your mind. That shit will blow your mind. Oh, y'all want me to tell you what I was reading? Nah. I would tell you, but then you know more than I know. You feel me? Go jump in my bank account. I don't know why I got that fucking song stuck in my head, yo. So I can deposit you. I'm going through withdrawals. Shit. Alright. What it do, what it do. Where's my picture? See if I can situate, get this situated. See if I can situate this paint. Ways we all can see it. Oh, I forgot about that. Glare. Get that paint situated so we all can see it. Damn, that's a good painting. That shit look. Who did that? Who painted that thing? Man, ain't no black people know how to paint. Y'all want to see the painting, or y'all want to see me? Not being egotistical. I'm just asking an honest statement. Some people say, "Oh, zoom in so I can see the brushstrokes," and then some people say, "Zoom out so I can see you painting." And it's like, okay. But yeah, have whichever way is clever. Whatever is clever. You know? Whatever is clever. I'm gonna put on some something to listen to while I get into this painting. Like I say, if you've been watching this, you can clearly see that I've added highlights from the bridge of his nose across to the right side of his face. So there's very few highlights here because she's actually casting a shadow onto the side of his face from her face in her hand. So the shadow does continue from here and kind of encroaches on his face there. So I'm not going to put a lot of highlights here, but there's a little bit of a highlight. There's brighter on his cheek right here, and maybe underneath his eye, and right here across his brow, and I think his brows may even have some highlights, and there are some highlights that are going to go on his glasses as well to continue rounding it off and giving his face that depth. And so once I add some highlights to his ear and this side of his face, it'll pull it together a little bit better. And then I'll just start working on her forehead and down into her eyes and her cheekbones from her profile, and see how far we can get in about an hour or so. Just want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you guys enjoying my artwork and watching me work my way through this current project. The first installment of the Whisper series. Still have several ideas for this and just need willing participants to take some photographs. So there may be a pause in this series where I actually work on a few other projects while I build up more photographs for this series, but it's going to be cool, and just all very, very similar settings and situations of people passing a little bit of secretive information amongst the two of them.
So beginning with that premise, whether you're more or not more, I'm going to start with what law really is. Most of us think that we go into a courtroom and understand the difference between a court and a courtroom, that the people who purport to use law really use words of art to make you believe, in fact, that law is on the table when you walk into a courthouse or a courtroom, when in fact that's not true. And I would like to share with you tonight, regardless of your religious persuasion, what law really is. Law, all law, is A-L-L space L-A-W. All law. All law. So for anyone who's of a Christian persuasion, don't be misled, and when you hear the term all law is God, all right? That is also what we would say in lawful terms a misnomer. Allah is not God. God has no capacity and no standing to all law, because God means governmental ordinance departments. There is no comparison. Now, who can use law? Law can only be used by people who are in their sovereign capacity. And as I will share with you tonight, the majority of the people in the world, and I'm not going to get into all of the details about that, but the majority of the people in the world, 99% of them live in slavery today. So in 1863, via the Emancipation Proclamation, and I challenge you to go look in a law dictionary and look up the definition of emancipation and proclamation, and you will see that a proclamation is not a law. A proclamation is a public announcement by elected officials. It is not a law. So the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 did not set any slaves free. What it did was standardize slavery, the United States being the model for the standardization of slavery, that all of the other nations around the world, as they reduced their people from their sovereign capacity and forced them to join nation states, then they were able to issue statutes, codes, ordinances, resolutions on them. And a statute, as in a state statute of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, is not a law. It is corporate policy of the corporation that calls itself the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated. All right? Now, a code is not a law. The United States codes, the code of the laws of the United States of America that are used in federal court and the Supreme Court, are not law. They are what they say they are. They are codes, ordinances, and resolutions of a municipality of the city of Philadelphia, which is a private nonprofit corporation that calls itself the City of Philadelphia. An ordinance and a resolution, as in parking ordinances, they are not law. They are what they say they are. They are ordinances and they are resolutions. All right? And the reason they are not law is because the only people who can issue law are people who are acting in their sovereign capacity. And the people who sit in these seats as elected officials are not, in fact, in their sovereign capacity. They are in a corporate ward status, meaning that they are wards of the state. They are members of the corporation, which is a nonprofit that calls itself the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And as long as they have a birth certificate on record with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, with that birth certificate being a contract, a birth certificate is a contract, and as long as you have a contract with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated, you belong to them, and that's what slavery really is. All right? So who can use law? If you are a member of a corporate ward state, if you are a member of a corporate ward nation that calls itself the United States of America, you are a citizen. Look in the law dictionary and look up the definition of citizen. A citizen is not a sovereign. A resident is not a sovereign. Therefore, if you use an address, which is a fictitious number associated with a designation issued by a corporate ward, right? Then you become under the jurisdiction of those people who are also corporate wards, but who are also slaveholders. All right? So if you are operating in that capacity, law does not apply to you. If you are a resident of the city of Philadelphia, which is a private nonprofit corporation, and you say you are a resident of the city of Philadelphia, then the ordinances and the resolutions of that private nonprofit corporation apply to you. If you are a citizen of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Incorporated, which is a private nonprofit corporation, then the statutes of that nonprofit corporation apply to you. If you are a citizen of the United States of America, which is a private nonprofit corporation, then the code of the laws, right, apply to you. But if you are a sovereign of the Moorish Empire, those ordinances, those resolutions, those codes, those statutes do not apply to you because you are not a member of the corporate ward state. It's as simple as that. And they understand the difference. This is why on their documents they use words of art. They use the word label, they use the word person, they use the word address. All of these things that place you in their jurisdiction, and you unknowingly fill out forms every day, and every time you fill out a form, you enter into a contract. I don't care what kind of form it is. It's a contract. A driver's license application is a contract. A Social Security application is a contract. When you call up the telephone company and you make a verbal contract over the telephone, this is why they can bill you. When you sign a deed, it is a contract. When you fill out a voter registration form, it is a contract. Does everybody understand that? Don't ever think anything that you put your signature on becomes a contract. All right? Now, the fact that you are not in your sovereign status means that you make a contract as a minor. They don't care. They know you are a minor because, and to be other than a minor, you have to be in your proper person at law. And how we write that is this. Can I have a transcript? That's working. Can you bear with me for a minute and let me put this on because I can't. Can y'all see that? Impropria persona. Impropria persona. When you are in your corporate ward status, you look like this to the court. Pro se. Pro se meaning they get you in the court and they bring someone in called a got that? Prosecutor. A prosecutor, because you're in a corporate board status. Now, if you're in propria persona, say in their criminal allegations, the prosecutor cannot come into the courtroom and say anything to you because you're not in pro se status. Makes sense, right? The issues of law. The issues of law are threefold. The issues of law are status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. The first thing that happens when you walk into a courtroom in your corporate ward status is that they already make the assumption that you are a ward of the state and that you don't know any better. So they immediately start adjudicating you. As the first thing that happens when we walk into a courtroom is that we place our status on the record. On the record. We come in with our flag. We come in with our treaty. We come in with the Constitution we signed with them, and understanding that the Constitution is a contract. It's a contract between who? It's a contract between the United States Republic and the United States of America. But there are certain clauses in that contract that apply to Moors, which takes us back to the Treaty of 1787. But that contract between the United States and the United States of America does not apply to us other than that part that discusses the treaty. So it's not relevant for us to go into any courtroom and argue about their ordinances, their codes, their statutes. The only thing we're in there to talk about is, have we violated the treaty? Have we violated that part, which is Article 6 of the Constitution, that applies to us? That's the only question in the courtroom. Because the status of the individuals looks like this. You and the judge. There's nobody else that you need to discuss anything with in the courtroom besides the judge. The prosecutor is invisible to you. Now, what do you have to say to that judge? My honor. not your honor. What is your status? What is your name? What is your nationality? All right? And do not let them get away with saying, I am a U.S. citizen. You cannot be a citizen and sit a bench. You cannot be a member of the Bar Association, which is a private, non-profit corporation that issues registration numbers to its members who do not have a license to practice law in any state. Because in order to have a license to practice law, you must have your proper person. And in order to be in propria persona in this country, whether that be North America, Central America, or South America, you must be a Moor. If they want to be sovereign, they've got to go home. They cannot be sovereign here. All right? The next issue of law is jurisdiction. So let me stick with status. What is the status of the prosecutor? What is the status of the district attorney? What is the status of Lynn Abraham? Does anybody in this room know her nationality? I don't. That's an important question to ask her if she serves me with any papers. Who are you? Where is your license to practice law? Where is your proof of naturalization in my land? Who gave you the authority to be here? Right? Who issued you authority to act in any capacity, to file any complaint or any charges against anyone? That's the question. And I say to you, she can't answer those questions. Right? So then, if you go up into a courtroom and nobody else has the status to be there, automatically challenge the jurisdiction of the court. There's nothing else that you need to say. There's nothing else to be said. Stand mute. Let them proceed, because guess what? They cannot proceed. You have a question? After this.
How do we make them honor that information that you just passed on to us?
In the courtroom, as I have learned, because I've spent a lot of time there, right? There is a language of silence. After you've said what you need to say, don't say any more. They will do the rest when you stand on your square. That's all you need to do. There's no need to stand there and argue with the judge, and trust me, I've done that. All right? And once you say what you need to say, they know everything else to do. But understand, they do not want you exposing the truth to their corporate wards, because every slave that you take out of their corporation, they lose money. This is making business. So don't go into the courtroom trying to expose the fraud. That's not your job. That's not why you're there. There's another venue for that. In that courtroom, because understand it's not court, because it's not law. And I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. So don't try to challenge them on the law. They already know that. They already know they don't have the proper status. They already know they're operating in your land fraudulently. All right? Just say what you have to say and back off. They will give you the window. And it's up to you. If you're educated enough about the law, you'll see the window, you'll recognize it, and then you'll be able to walk through it and walk out the door. But if you're not conscious, when they open the window for you, I'll give you an example, as I gave in class just a few nights ago. Went into the courtroom, and the judge has papers there in front of me, and he's just arguing with me, young lady, you better come back here. I'm going to send all these officers I have at my disposal with guns to hunt you down and bring you. And he's just running his mouth. And the prosecutor slides me the paper to sign, and it was blank. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So I signed the paper because I know how to sign contracts and not be obligated to them. Right? So I did that, signed the blank piece of paper. They took a copy, I took a copy, and I left. And I never heard from them again. But if I had stood there, as I shared with class, and I have done this, This paper is blank, and I'm not signing it. And right? So all I had to do was come into the courtroom and say what I had to say. Now, I know how to present myself in the courtroom, Islam, right? And see the window and walk out.
Thank you.
All right. Now, the next issue at law is jurisdiction. We already know they don't have the status. Now, do they have the jurisdiction? The answer is no. Because in order to have jurisdiction, you must first prove status. Everybody in the courtroom must have status on the record. Why is that so important? Because unless their status is on the record, what country do you represent? Says what law you're here to get justice on, right? Now, if you have not clarified the status for the record, you can't bring your law into the court. So there can be no court. So status is very important. And so if you're Moore, and let's say somebody else is Manchurian, and I'll get to that in a minute, when you have two people of different standings in the courtroom, you have to decide what law applies. Is there a treaty between the two? Do they have a constitution? Do they have any other trade agreement or contract that binds them and obligates the parties? That's the question. All right? So, if you walk into the courtroom and they immediately start adjudicating, you have no idea what law they're using. And I guarantee you, because status has not been established for the record, they're not using any law that applies to you. And they're not using any law that applies to them. They're simply using corporate policy, which is discretionary. If they like you today, they'll let you off. If they don't like you tomorrow, they'll give you some time or a fine. Okay? So status and then jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is going to determine what area, what geographical area encompasses the authority that that judge or that court has. All right? So if you're in a municipal court or a court of common pleas, don't go in there talking about the Constitution because they don't have jurisdiction to discuss the Constitution with you. Do not go into a state court discussing the Constitution unless it's the state's Constitution. Because the United States Constitution, they have no jurisdiction over, but they won't tell you that. They'll dismiss the case. Different jurisdictions. And don't go into federal court talking about city ordinances. You understand the difference? Okay. Jurisdiction. Then adjudication. Once you get to the part about adjudication, you have to answer the question, do you understand the law that applies to you, that applies to this matter? Because there's two types of jurisdiction. Jurisdiction over the matter and jurisdiction over the person. All right? Does the court have both? They must have both in order to proceed. They don't tell you these things, but this is very important. So if the court has gotten to the point of adjudication, all right, which for me, I don't have that problem. But once the court gets to the point of adjudication, then they're ready to start prosecuting. They're ready to find you guilty of something, some kind of way. And the reason for that is because it's a business. And once you enter there and they seize jurisdiction over you, they adjudicate for the sole purpose of getting some money. That's that. Because and to be other than a minor, you have to be in your proper person at law. And how we write that is this. Can I have it, please? That's working. Can you bear with me for a minute and let me put this on because I can't.
Did that thing just skip back?
Can you see that? Impropria persona. Impropria persona. When you are in your corporate ward status, you look like this to the court. Pro se. Pro se meaning they get you in the issues. Nation state as well, because the country of China is Manchuria. The nation state, the corporate ward to proceed. They don't tell you these things, but this is very important. So if the court has gotten to the point of adjudication, all right, which for me, I don't have that problem. But once the court gets to the point of adjudication, then they're ready to start prosecuting. They're ready to find you guilty of something, some kind of way. And the reason for that is because it's a business. And once you enter there and they seize jurisdiction over you, they adjudicate for the sole purpose of getting some money. That's the bottom line. They don't care about you, whether you're innocent or whether you're guilty, none of that. How much money are they going to get out of this? And their little club that they have called the Bar Association, their members have to be fed. So they want to make sure that this one gets fed and that one gets fed. And that's fine, because that's their corporate thing. That's the way they make money. And if they're going to make money being deceitful and all that, that's the karmic baggage they've got to carry. But you don't want to be a participant to it. That's all. Okay. Color of law. Colorable. Color means something that pretends to be something that it's not. Colorable court, colorable money, colorable law, colorable people. Any people who call themselves colored, Negro, African American, Indian, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Australian, all of these are colorable labels, but these people for the most part around the world don't even know this. But because they call themselves Chinese, as I was getting ready to say to you, they are part of a corporate nation state as well, because the country of China is Manchuria. The nation state, the corporate ward nation state is China. That is not the country or the sovereignty of the people. The people are Manchurian. All right? You understand? Say anybody who wants to call themselves Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico is a corporate nation state. It is a private, non-profit corporation that has a charter issued by the Moors, where they have the authority to conduct commerce and trade on the island of Borincano. Borincua. Right? Borincua. That's the name of the people. Borincano is the name of the island. Puerto Rico is the private non-profit corporation that has the charter to operate within the geographical boundaries of Borincano. Most Puerto Ricans don't even know that. I go around telling people all the time, you're not this, you're not that. This is who you really are, because people have grown up into slavery for generation after generation in all these corporate nation states who belong to the United Nations, which is a private non-profit corporation trade association for nation state corporations. Got it? In order to belong to the United Nations, you have to be a corporate ward state, nation state. Otherwise, they don't want you. And they will go to war against a country and take the people out of their sovereign capacity and say they're setting up democracy all around the world, so that they can take people out of their sovereign capacity and take them away from the law and impose corporate statute on them. And that's exactly what they do. All right? Now, color of law is in full swing all around the world. All around the world. And they have a clique where they're all intermingled and they all agree to participate together in this game. Right? Now, it doesn't matter where you go. Just like most people think you need a passport to travel from company to company to company that are called nation states. So you do need a passport if you call yourself black or African American or a U.S. citizen or any of those things. Yes, you need a passport to travel from one corporate nation state to another. But when you're traveling from one country to another, you do not need a passport. And those countries will tell you you don't. Depends on what you call yourself. You understand? Okay. Why do we have colorable law and colorable courts? During the Civil War, the Moors went to war against each other. Now, we destroyed ourselves in this. The Europeans did not come here and bring us down. We did that from inside, and they capitalized on the carnage. Do you understand? All of these buildings all around here, as I told in class last night, they're ours. They belong to us. They're ancient, these buildings. There's a whole city underneath this city. They've been burned, all the major cities, the major energy centers on this globe we call an earth. Our ancestors set up these energy centers that we call Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Atlanta, Detroit, right? Chicago, Miami, Phoenix, Los Angeles. They are energy centers. They're not where they are in huge, large cities just because of some coincidence. There's energy and power in these places. London, Rio de Janeiro. All right? And by the way, we're going to spell it like this, Rio de. Day, which is a normal title of the Moors. Rio de Janeiro. You understand? This thing is worldwide. This flag that we carry with the red flag, with the 5-pointed green star, with the pointing up, all right? It's a worldwide flag. It's recognized all around the world, all right? So, the reason we have colorable courts and colorable law is because during the Civil War, when the Moors warred against each other, there were those who agreed to participate in the game called the corporate ward game. And there were many who made a lot of money. They got a commission on everybody they got to sign a birth certificate, because the birth certificate is a contract that puts you in slavery. And they got money. William Penn got very rich. All right? All the Quakers got very rich. All the abolitionists got very rich on this Civil War ward state game. Robert Morris and a lot of these buildings that are named after these people in downtown Philadelphia became multimillionaires, and their ancestors are still wealthy today over the corporate ward game. All right? Now, the reason that we have to have colorable law and colorable courts is because so many of us agree to be slaves. We don't need colorable courts and colorable law otherwise. But the people who agree to be bound by the 14th Amendment, which covers civil rights, which covers Negroes and African Americans and Jews and Hispanics and Indians and all these people like that, if you agree to call yourself that, they have to create a statute that applies to you, because law doesn't apply to you. So it's not their fault. It's the fault of the people who agree to be outside of their sovereign capacity. Okay? And now, if you walk in and you want to reestablish it, they're at odds because they're not accustomed to people walking in who are conscious and sovereign. You can't separate the two when you walk into a courtroom. And when I say you walk in on your square, I don't standing with your feet at a right angle. All right? I mean, not to be deterred when you know you're in and you have law on your side. Do not back down. But you do not have to be belligerent. Trust me, I've been there. Don't do that. Okay? Now, the law of the land. The law of the land, as it applies to the United States of America and the United States, is their Constitution. The law of the land, which supersedes that, which if you go and read the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, you will see that the treaty, in particular the Treaty of 1787, which was last signed and ratified in 1986. All right, it's re-signed every 50 years. That it's the treaty that is the actual law of the land. Now, that being the case, how do we make that treaty work for us? We always say they're not honoring the treaty. This is the oldest treaty in the world. Did y'all know that? And it's the only unbroken and longest standing treaty in the world. Did y'all know that? Now, that treaty protects us. You need to go get a copy of it. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787, all right, signed by the Emperor of Morocco. Actually, he signed it in the month of Ramadan in the year 1201, all right, which translates into the Gregorian calendar year of 1787, because they added 586 years to our calendar, all right? So, in terms of using the law of the land, and when you express these things to them, you don't even have to go into a lot of detail about it, because those who rule and those in government and those who sit on those judicial benches know what this doctrine is, and they adhere to it. But the problem is there's not enough of us standing up defending it. Okay? How to correct the issue? The people must be in their proper person. The people must act in their sovereign capacity. As the brother said earlier, how do you behave as a sovereign? How do you behave as a sovereign? You behave as a sovereign by not getting so upset and ranting and raving and causing a scene. There's no need to do any of that. As I said in the courtroom, as in with law enforcement and any of that, there's a language of silence. Just like the mummers who march down Broad Street every New Year's and they're playing it up and playing it up. What does mummery mean? silent mockery. Who are they mocking? Us. All right? But they understand the language of silence, and they deal in it all the time with their secret signs and symbols. But don't be angry with them for using these things. Why not? We taught it to them. Okay? Don't be angry with them because they have gotten out of control with the power that we gave them. We created these people. We can't now turn around and say, now we don't want you. Now, go off someplace else and this and that. And if you know the history, you know that what the Moors did to these people when they were first created. The Moors considered them subhuman. They couldn't speak Latin, which is our original language. They couldn't go to school. They couldn't own land. They couldn't vote. They were totally disenfranchised. And this is why the Moors commissioned Benjamin Bay, who you know as Benjamin Banneker, who is also Benjamin Franklin, by the way, okay, to teach these people the science of government. He did that for a select few. Unfortunately, it couldn't go and spread as widely as it should have been. Now we have a situation on our hands where we as Moors refuse to be who we are. In the civil rights movement, there were those who led it who were paid to get us off our square. And we agreed to be there. We agreed to be called black, and we're proud of it, remember? Now, who could tell us any different? Now, the Europeans have a dilemma because they've lied to us so much and we have forgotten so much that if they stand up to tell us the truth, would we believe them? The majority of the people who call themselves African American, right now, if you tell them they're not from Africa, they'll give you hell. Am I right? Yes, we are. Now, can you imagine you're getting that feedback from them. Can you imagine what they would say to a European who now try to tell them they're not from Africa? You understand? Now you've got Bill Gates who's given $1 billion to the United Negro College Fund, to keep more Negroes out of their sovereign capacity, and they jump right into the boat, right? Play it up to the hilt. Oh, what a great thing he's done. They love him to death. Now, if the Moors try to stand up and say who the man really is, you got all these black people who are going to criticize you. Leave the man alone, they'll say. All right? But we know the truth. So we correct the issue only by standing on our square, whether we're Moors or whether we're not. All right? Now, let's talk about what law really is. Law is based upon the science of astrology, astrologic. Don't let anybody ever tell you that astrology is for entertainment purposes. It is the science that rules. It is the science that governs. As I said to you, what all law is, all law. All law. Do we praise Allah? Absolutely. Do we praise Christ? Absolutely, because what? Not who. What is Christ? Christ is the great I am. And if you know what Islam means, let me tell you this. Law, am, master. I am the master of my own fate. I am all law. All right? When you walk into the courtroom and you know these things, trust me, you get a different result. When they ask you your name, you never say, my name is. That's a label. What do you say? I am. I am. You never swear on the Bible. You affirm. You affirm on the Bible. And as Sister Thanai here said to me, oh, they try to trick you. They'll say, do you swear or affirm? No. You just say, I affirm. Because what? I am. And who you are. And that's your status. And nobody can compete with that. Nobody can take that from you. And no matter what paperwork you submit to a court, what is the most important thing is when you walk into a courtroom and you speak the law. And when you speak the law in a courtroom, guess what? You speak it into existence, because a thought is an activity. It's real. It may not be something you can touch, but as soon as that thought transpires into a word, it becomes a spell. That's why they call it spelling. You get it? Now, law is based upon the zodiac. Now, when you walk into a courtroom, there's all kinds of things going on. There's sacred geometry going on in the courtroom. In fact, the courtroom is set up according to sacred geometry. All right? And here's what happens when you're in there. The judge is at the top of the triangle. Got it? When you walk in there, and as I had shared in another class, to deal with marriage, it's the same thing. And I'm going to talk about that also in a minute. You walk in there, and when you appear, never tell the court that you are appearing. Look in the law dictionary and find out the definition of appear. Never do that. You go into the courtroom and you make a what? A special appearance. Not general. That will get you in trouble every time if you appear in a courtroom. And all of these little nuances, they know these things. And they are put there to trap you who don't know. So when you walk in there and you're on your square, being on your square means to know these things and not to walk in the courtroom uncomfortable. Because when you know them, you have no reason not to come to court, do you? You want to be there because you want to make a special appearance to challenge the jurisdiction of the court. Why? Because of the lack of status. And once jurisdiction is challenged, it must be proven for the record. It must be proven for the record before the court can proceed. Do you understand? The judge must come with his nationality papers. He must come with the flag of the country, not the nation state that he represents. That United States flag with the 50 stars, which now should be 48 because there are only 48 states. Did y'all know that? 2 of them dropped out. Hawaii and Alaska are no longer states. Did y'all know that? They're no longer states. They're no longer states. The treaty was up. They got out. All right. I'm kind of going through a lot of things right now, and okay. All right. The law is used by people in their proper person. When you walk into the courtroom, you should always have your paperwork precede you. Don't walk in there without first having submitted some document to the court to let them know that, yes, I'm coming. And look in the law dictionary and look up the definition of come. It's different than appear. Now, you can come to the courtroom, all right, and make a special appearance. You understand? Never, you get the subpoena, whatever it is in the newspaper, and don't believe all this other stuff where they tell you, don't go to court if you get these papers, because they will put a manhunt out for you. And you do not need that. And there's no reason for you not to go. You should go. You should go, and the more of us that do go and challenge the jurisdiction and let them see we're not scared because we're standing on the square, they will stop calling you to court. Right? Because the people who operate in their proper person, and the more and more of us that go in there operating in our proper person, they're going to begin to see the game is up. The secret's out. We can't do this anymore. All right? Justice died upon the cross. What does that mean? I'm no artist. That is the cardinal points of the zodiac. Cardinal, as in Catholic Church, cardinal. They are your deacons of the zodiac. Deacons, as in the Christian church. They are your cardinal points. And they apply to everything you do. Who you are, your character, everything that surrounds you, your environment, the country where you live, everything is affected by the different signs of the zodiac. When Justice died on the cross, here's what happened. That's our solar system, and that's the sun in the middle. And that's Earth, the third rock from the sun, which is its planetary position. That's not its name. And its planetary position will be changing, is changing every day. And it's speeding up and getting closer and closer to the sun until it will occupy the second position, rock from the sun. This is the natural life cycle of a planet. And all the planets are coming in, and then more planets are being created out further beyond Pluto. So what they call the greenhouse effect is the natural heating up of the planet. And all those who cannot meet the heat requirement as the planet heats up will be eliminated from the planet. This is the science of the zodiac. Now, just like we have the zodiac, which I just showed you, based upon what is called the geocentric form of astrology. Geocentric because it's centered based on the Earth as its center point. Then there's the heliocentric form of astrology, which is based upon the sun being the center. Sun is helio, Earth is geo. Everybody understand that? Now, just like we have our signs applied to the Earth here, the sun also has its center point here. Everybody understand that? Does everybody understand that our entire solar system is spinning around the Milky Way? The Earth spins on its axis, the moon spins on, right? Spins around, well, let me back up. The moon doesn't spin around the Earth like they told you, but the moon does have a cycle. Now, the Earth spins on its axis, and the Earth spins around the sun.
Like,
the sun spins.
Everything
on its
connects to
axis,
everything else. She had to hurry up and pause on that moon shit because there's something funny about our moon.
That's
you know
basic,
what I'm saying?
Right? Very basic. Now, check this out.
I agree with everything she's saying. There's one or two things that I don't absolutely agree with, but like, this lady knows a lot of shit.
26,000 years to make one revolution around the Milky Way. Everybody understand that? This is science here. I'm not trying to make up stuff just to lie to you, okay? And all of this, believe it or not, is relative to law. That's why I'm explaining it to you, all right? And the subject is justice died upon the cross. So I'm coming back to that, but I have to give you this information first so you'll understand. 26,000 years for the sun to make one journey around the Milky Way, all right? If we divide that by 12, why are we dividing it by 12? There are 12 signs of the zodiac, all right? Now, if we divide it by 12, this is the number. $2,166 years. So, our solar system spins 2,166 years in one sign. We just left the age of Pisces. An age is equal to 2,166 years. Now, you've heard the term, an age. but nobody ever thought about it. We say for ages, what's an age equal to? Mathematically, it's equal to 2,166 years. Got it? Now, we just entered the age of Aquarius. All right, 2,166 is represented here. You see that? So each one, right, has a time frame of 2,166. Everybody understand that? Here's what happens. I don't need to write all of them, right? You all understand the point. We just left the age of Pisces, which was, or an eon. An age and an eon are equal to 2,166 years. Now, we just left the age of Pisces, which is represented by what we know as Jesus. This is why Jesus is represented by the sign of the fish. It's over. The age of Pisces is over. All right? Not to come around again until we go through all of the other 11 signs of the zodiac. Now we're in the age of Aquarius. What does that mean?
The water bearer.
Justice, and any Mason will tell you, if he can unravel the allegory, is Jesus. Jesus was born. Why? Because what's the opposite of Pisces? Jesus was born of a virgin mother. Virgo is the virgin. Virgo is the virgin, right? Who in here is Virgo? Anybody? Virgo is the virgin, right? Okay. So Jesus was born of the virgin mother, Virgo. Got it? All of this stuff in the Bible, because understand that the Bible is not a religious book. The Quran is not a religious book. They are science books. Biblios Heliotech is the Bible. It's the full Latin name of the Bible. It is the science. It's an elementary science where Moors are concerned. It's the science of the study of the cycle of the sun. Helio meaning study, meaning sun. Biblios meaning record of. Y'all understand? The Quran, chronology, maxima. The great chronology. The Quran is the great chronology of the science and the study of the asteroid, of the astral plane. You understand? Okay, so justice died on the cross. Here's what happened. Those that we call Europeans or Albions, ruled during the age of Pisces. So when we say the time is up, we're not just saying this by conjecture. We're saying this because the time, the 2,166 years that they had is over. I'm not saying this because I have any bias against them or any of that. This is the science of it, and they know it. The problem is our people are not ready for it. How can justice return under the age of Aquarius if we're not ready? The age of Aquarius demands information. It is the technology age Aquarius is. Aquarius demands answers. Our youth demand answers. They demand the truth. They demand this truth because they cannot proceed and lead the world without this knowledge. They cannot do it. They cannot do this without the understanding of the zodiac, which is this. Zodiacus is the ancient name of the term zodiac. Zodiacus implies the first woman, who is this. Womb man. We are man with a womb. That's who we are. No spirit can enter this plane without the agreement of a womb man. Period. We are the vehicle. We have a covenant with the cosmos where we agree to bring those spirits, which we call monads, from the astral plane and summon them to this physical plane. And it is only through the womb man that they can leave, exit, and then reposition themselves in another plane. All of this relevant to all law. Now, this is why when the brother talked about getting our land back, I know this issue very well. I fight this fight every day on top of all my other duties and responsibilities and everything else that I do. So when we talk about justice returns under the age of Aquarius, this is why when we walk into a courtroom and we understand that the court, as I explained to a class just recently, a court is also a corporation. They don't hide that from you. They put it right on the seal, right behind the judge. And they tell you that this court was incorporated in 1878, whatever it is. This court was incorporated, and what words do they use? Founded. So when you see the word founded, and you see the word established in, it already tells you that they're a corporation. Understand? And anybody who owns a corporation does what? Own a slave. Because a corporation is a slave holder. Understand? Now, let's talk about the issues that come up in court. How am I with time, Noah? All right. The point I want to make real quick relative to going to court and getting land back and all these issues and all these injustices that have been done to us. When we participate in organizations that take us off our square, that adds to the chaos and the confusion. So it's better not to join anything at all and just be yourself if you're not going to be a Moor. But even if you're going to be a Moor, understand that sovereignty is an individual thing. Don't go into court talking about I belong to such and such organization. And be clear about that, because as soon as you say an association, an organization, a business, a firm, a corporation, you're talking about slavery. And they love that language because you're putting yourself right in their jurisdiction as soon as you say it. But you go in there and say, I am. Well, what organization do you belong to? Well, none. They do not know how to deal with you. But as soon as you say corporation, because they're a corporation and they speak the corporate language and they have corporate policy, they'll love you to say that. So the first thing they're going to do is, how are we going to get some money? All right? Because that's the name of the game, money. Now, let's talk about who they are, why they exist, these courts. First of all, we know that they're not really courts. We know they're colorable. They know they're colorable. They have to be colorable because they're dealing with colorable people, right? If we choose not to be colorable, we don't belong in there. So, the court is this. Just like the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, just like the Bar Association, just like the United States of America, they are this. They are a private non-profit corporation. If you get some mail that belongs to me, do you go and show up and say you're me? No. You can't do that. So if a private non-profit corporation sends you a document and you have no contract with them, why should you go up and debate the contract? Because if you don't have a contract, right? If you don't have a contract, you don't have a contract. It's as simple as that. You don't need to go there and say all of that. Just say, because here's my status and this and that and the other, right? Don't go in there trying to debate whether you owe money on the contract or not. The bill was too high and all that. And I'm not saying that because of what you said. Understand that. If you don't have the contract, why are you discussing the bill? It doesn't make sense, does it? First, you have to have a contract. So the first thing you need to understand when you walk in there, I don't care what the issue is. Here's the question. And I write things down, specific things I write down, because when I write them down, I'm spelling, understand?
break for a minute.
Do we
Please.
have a
Brushes
contract?
off.
If I rescind my birth certificate, do I agree to belong to the corporate world state that calls itself the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is a private nonprofit corporation? If I don't have a birth certificate with you, what agreement do we have that you should summon me to answer anything? Right? If I don't have an agreement with the parking authority, which I don't, do they have the right to send me a bill saying that I owe them for a parking ticket? It's ludicrous. Now, the thing to say is, if you don't have the contract,
What happened?
And you need to exercise those rights. And there are codes even that are there, and laws that are there to protect you.
Disconnected from the Bluetooth, like fuck your lecture. You know, like screw whatever you're trying to listen to, bro. It's all good because I was gonna take a break anyway. But I don't see how. Like, how did it just turn off like that? Let me reconnect this. See if I can reconnect. That shit was getting too real. The goddamn connection couldn't stand that shit. Really? I might have to turn my system off. Where? Alright, guys. Let me go to the bathroom real quick. I need to take a bathroom break. Be right back. Alright. Let's see. Why isn't this working? Why aren't you working? Device. Let's go back here. Alright. I really don't understand that. It's saying that it will not connect to my Bluetooth now. Alright, so turned off the system again. Turned off the tablet. Close all the apps out. Here's this. Okay. I don't know why I can't get this my Bluetooth to act right again. Is that it? Finally. Finally. Now I have to go all the way back to my lecture on what is law and do you know the law?
The right to send me a bill saying that I owe them for a parking ticket. It's ludicrous. Now, the thing to say is, if you don't have the contract, you have certain rights, and you need to exercise those rights. And there are codes even that are there, and laws that are there to protect you if you don't have a contract with somebody and they're trying to make you adhere to a contract. I don't care what kind of contract it is. If you don't have a driver's license and they pull you over, the first thing you need to say is, I don't have a contract. They may still give you the ticket, but understand that if there are other things, which I already explained in the language of silence, which because we are amongst non-Moors tonight, I will not show you. However, there's a language of silence that you can speak to these people and they will not bother you. You can trust me on that. However, if you're not comfortable and you happen to get off your square and you get the ticket and you have to go to court, that's the first thing you have to say. I don't have a contract. And all of these courts, because they are corporations, the only type of policy they can deal with is contract policy, not contract law, contract policy. So the first thing you must ask is what? Do we have a contract? And if the answer is no, then I'm here under threat, duress, and coercion. You are violating my rights. It's as simple as that. You have no other reason to be there. Does that make sense? Okay. If the state comes in and says, you're not treating your children right and we want to take them, right? The first thing you have to say is, state, do I have a contract that says I gave my children to you? Did I, at what point, produce the contract? Produce the contract. If you send me a bill, and understand that if you belong to the corporate board state, you can't make these arguments because you do have a contract, which is the birth certificate, which is the marriage license, which your marriage license is your contract, is the woman's contract with the state and the man's contract with the state. It's not a contract between the man and the woman. Never was, never will be. Unless you have a prenuptial agreement or something else, you don't have a marriage contract with the one you think you love. You have a contract with somebody else who becomes a third party to your life, always, till you rescind the contract, all right? Because that's not how you get married. Marriage is under all law, all right? And then what you're responsible to do is to place the oath that you take between the two of you on the public record.
What can I eat quick?
Where do you place information on the public record?
What?
Do you know?
Perfect solution.
With the county. The counties are ancient. They belong to us. They belong to us. Our ancestors named the counties. Our ancestors formed the counties. Our ancestors set up the government of the counties, and the counties operate according to common law. Did y'all know that? The counties belong to us. So let me write this for you. How many of you think you live in Philadelphia County? For those who, okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. You're right. You know. See that? Do you recognize that there's a difference between the two? There's a difference between Philadelphia County, which our ancestors set up with certain geographical boundaries, and that corporate, nonprofit corporation that calls itself the County of Philadelphia. It is a corporation chartered to conduct business and commerce and trade and all that within the geographical boundary of Philadelphia County. They are two different things. They're two different things. So when you see documents, pay attention, because all documents that you get don't have County of Philadelphia on them. And you know the difference between the two, because if you get documents from the County of Philadelphia, you know that you're receiving correspondence from a corporation. Do you understand? And if you're receiving correspondence from a corporation, the first question you must ask is, do we have a contract? Now, if you receive correspondence from the county, that's common law. You have the responsibility to respond and adhere to that, because guess what? You are a part and parcel of that county. Our ancestors set up these geographical boundaries for us, all right? Now, likewise, with any other county or city, pay attention to this one little word. It's a very dangerous word. I'm going to tell you. And I tell people in my class, when that word shows up, you're in trouble. The reason is because most of you prior to tonight, you didn't understand that there was a difference in when they used that little word of. But trust me, there's a difference between whether you're dealing with government or corporation. Government or corporation. You have to know the difference. And if you don't know the difference between these things, they're going to have you swinging left and right in the dark and hitting nothing. Okay? I want to explain to you that when you're dealing in contracts, your status in the contract is very important. How do you establish your presence in a contract so that you are protected? Does anybody know how to do that? Because we're confronted with contracts all the time, and when we do not adhere to certain terms and conditions of the contract, which we did not understand from the very beginning, dragged into court to answer for all kinds of claims and allegations on behalf of the corporation, and we don't even understand why we're there. We think, for the most part, the majority of us, and prior to tonight, you get a summons to appear in court. I don't care whether that's a civil action or a criminal action. You are on the defensive because you feel that inherently, maybe I have done something that warrants these allegations. Even if you know for a fact that you're innocent, because the way that corporate system operates, you are not innocent until proven guilty. You are guilty until proven innocent. And the reason is because as some of these state sovereignty people would have you believe, the United States has declared war on the people. We're in a state of martial law. Well, of course you are. If the people have agreed to be corporate wards of a state that's a private, non-profit corporation, and the government operates according to sovereignty, and you agree not to be sovereign, then what have you done? You've abandoned your government.
My bad, guys. My YouTube channel went out.
Apples and peanut butter.
The only thing the government can do is declare war on you. That's why you walk into a military tribunal when you walk into these courtrooms. That's why they have a military flag, which is a USA flag with the gold fringe, that lets you know you're in a military tribunal. And the reason is because you've agreed not to be sovereign. So the only way they can deal with you is in a military fashion. Y'all understand that? Okay. So how to protect yourself when you're dealing in, the first thing, I'm not going to really get into details of explaining to you how to stand on your square and how to be in court and all that. The first thing you must understand is how to exist in contracts. Because if you understand how to exist in contracts, that will significantly reduce your ever having to go to court, to the courtroom. Okay, to the courtroom. If you understand how to deal in contracts, because all these corporations do is deal in contracts, and all the these court systems, let me say that, do is deal in contracts. So if you're not familiar with the contracts, and the majority of their contracts are these. Adhesion contracts. Look in the law dictionary and look up the word adhesion, and what you're going to find is that an adhesion contract is a type of contract where there are terms and conditions that are a part of the contract of which you are not aware. And every time you sign a birth certificate, there's the balance of that contract is somewhere. Whenever you sign for a driver's license, the balance of that contract is somewhere. You don't have it, you've never seen it, but it does exist. And this is why they have the authority to issue you a ticket for all these different things and violations, because there's a contract somewhere that you signed, and you have not reserved your rights. So if you don't reserve your rights are considered waived upon signing of the contract, which means that you know, understand, and agree that there's an adhesion going on, and you don't care, or you otherwise are not aware. They don't care. They've got you to sign. How do you go back now and correct the fact that you signed all these adhesion contracts everywhere all your life? You signed them. I know you have, because I have too. And now's the time for you to get back into your proper person so you can correct those contracts and get out of the ones you don't want to have, and the ones you choose to have, you can exist under your own terms and conditions. That's the most important part. That's long before you get to go into court. Because you can go to court all day long, but guess what? Unless you correct the problem, the root of the problem, which is not knowing how to exist in contracts, you'll constantly go to court, and that's a waste of your time. I'm sure you have many more productive things to do than to keep showing up in court, making special appearance and propria persona, sui juris, and stating your status for the record, okay? Now, the first thing you need to do is contact. Contact those entities with whom you have a contract and tell them that in no uncertain terms you want to correct or otherwise change or revise the terms and conditions of your contract. You have the right to do that, and you must. All right? If you're going to have the contract, exist in those contracts under your own terms and conditions. Just because somebody hands you an application, and that application has pretty little boxes and everything on it, if there's categories up there that don't apply to you, don't fill it out. Add a box that applies to you. And then when we take people to the Social Security Administration to get their name corrected on their Social Security card, this is what happens. There's a section on there for race, okay? Okay, that's just some of them. They may have a few more. I don't remember, okay? Do any of those boxes apply to you? Not even the one other. It does not apply to you. So what do you do? You are a Moor. Tell them who you are. If you don't, and you put any other category up there, you have signed it and you have made a contract with them, and they're going to hold you to that contract. And then if you go back and try to change the contract, they'll say, well, they won't tell you in these words. They say, well, we can't do that. Well, why can't they do it? It's because you didn't reserve your rights, but guess what? They reserved all of theirs. And they have the right to not change the contract just because you want to. They reserve that right. Now, and the only way you can get out of it is step out of that corporate board status and deal with them in propria persona sui juris, which means in my proper person of my own rights, okay, and go back and correct those contracts. That's the first thing you got to do. The Uniform Commercial Code. Whether you're sovereign or whether you're not, you're dealing in commerce. And when you're dealing in commerce, there's an agreement, a uniform agreement in this country, not this nation, this country, that has a standard that protects people in their contracting. Because you have the right to contract. Even in the treaty, you have the right to trade. You have the right to trade being without interference from any other third party. Okay? You have the right to trade under your own terms and conditions. All right? Now, when you waive that right, and they don't tell you that you have waived the right, they're exercising their rights under the Uniform Commercial Code. And you're not. So go and look up the Uniform Commercial Code and look up those sections that apply to reserving your rights. I would tell you what those sections are tonight, but for me to just tell you does not help you. It only helps you if you go look it up and you see it for yourself. Am I right, Fami Arasante? Because they did that, and now they understand how to sign documents, not just because I gave some instruction on certain things. They've seen the verbiage in those books, and they've seen how it applies and how it has been used in the Supreme Court cases and all the treaty law that applies to these things. It's much better for you to go find it for yourself. So that's why I just give you that right there. The other part is this. You see my favorite word in there? Of. The United States Code of the Laws. The United States Code of the Laws is the code that's used by all of the United States district courts and federal court. This is what they use. So if you go into federal court, you must cite the United States Code that applies to the violations that are made against you. That's all you need to do. Because they understand treaty and understand, I've been there so many times discussing treaty and constitution and all those things like that. And trust me, when I go to court, they put everybody out the courtroom. And they post officers at the door on the inside and the outside because they don't want people to hear what I have to say. And then they come up with all these different little reasons and whatever and get me out of there because they don't want me in there. Because I know too much. And I will speak. So, the United States Code of the Laws has also the different codes and the procedures, the federal rules of civil procedure in there. All of the criminal code, because understand, if there's a parking ticket, what they're saying is that we're suing you for a criminal offense. Did y'all know that? If there's a speeding ticket, that's a criminal offense. They're suing you in a criminal court. Do y'all understand that? They're filing criminal charges against you for something so simple. All right? If you agree to pay a tax bill and then you don't pay it, like with the Internal Revenue Service, because understand they're the Internal Revenue Service, they're a private, non-profit corporation. There are 22 of them all around the country, and they compete for your business. They compete. They don't share information, and they collect money they're in the business of collecting money on behalf of the United States Treasury. That's their job. Doesn't mean you have to use them, but if you have a contract with them, which you sign your W-4, right? You sign a 1040 or 1040A or whatever, any of those other forms, you sign them. That's voluntary. Did you know your signature is voluntary? You can fill out the form and don't sign it and send it in. And even if you claim on there that you say you owe them money, as long as you don't sign it, you have not, right, entered into a contract. You've given them all the information, but you have not entered into a contract which binds you. Do you understand? If you send the information, you have filed. And that's all that you're required to do. They don't say you're required to sign. They say, please sign. There's a difference. Please sign. Why? Please sign so we can come after you and take everything you got. Okay? So, when you look up the United States Code of the Laws, you're going to find all kinds of things in there, because municipalities who have codes and regulations and all those things, and the state statutes and all that, all of them fall up under the jurisdiction of the United States Code of the Laws. Because no municipality, no county, borough, township, city, state can make a law that's outside the boundaries of federal law. They must all adhere to federal law. But if you agree, if they come up with a policy and you agree and enter into a contract to participate and be a part of that policy, then when you try to go to the federal court for protection, the federal court, they're not going to tell you in words they'll dismiss the case, but the reason they're dismissing the cases is because somewhere along the line you signed a contract that behind your back has been produced and put into the court record. And what I always tell people to do is to go down to the file room and get a copy of the docket sheet and get a copy of your file of everything that's ever been put on the record concerning you. And then you go back and correct those things and say, produce the contract or take it out the file. You have to file your paperwork, your motion to the court, and say that these things were filed in violation of whatever code applies, of whatever UCC paragraph that applies. These things are in violation of UCC ... United States Code ... You petition the court to have them removed from your record. Y'all understand how simple this is? Not hard. This is not rocket science. This is what it takes is your perseverance to follow through the steps and get this thing done. Because if you don't do it, certainly it's going to remain on your record. And guess what? No matter how long you live, you can always trace. They always go back and trace something on your record back to you. I don't care if you correct your name or anything like that, which I tell people, even when you correct your name, what we have people stop using your Social Security number as a trade number. That's one of the main things you have to do. Stop using that Social Security number. The Social Security Administration tells you, do not give your Social Security number to anyone. And anyone that you choose to give it to, you have the right to demand, one, how they're going to use it. And you have, under certain terms and conditions, to deny them to use it certain ways. For example, if you got something on your credit report, it's our Asante, we helped him resolve those issues. How did they get on there? Did you authorize that credit reporting company to send, to receive any information? Do you have a contract with them? Do you have a contract with JCPenney, who you applied for the application? Did you tell them as a part of your contract that they could check your credit record? Is that part of the contract? The answer is no. That's not part of the contract, and they violated UCC and the United States Code by contacting that credit reporting bureau to get any information on you. And then the credit reporting bureau has violated UCC and the Code of the Laws to send any information relative to you because you did not explicitly authorize them to do so. So, guess what? They have done damage to you, and then guess what? You have the right to sue for damages, am I right? Okay, so contracts and these courts, that's the only thing you're dealing with, is contracts. Contracts, and never forget that. I'm going to write it down. Because I'm ready to close and open the floor for questions, and I just want to leave you with that word, contracts, and remember how to exist in contracts. Islam.
Yes. Have we learned something today? Have we learned something today?
Okay. Mission complete.
Rolling. Okay. So
mission complete.
I like
if you have heard something today that you have not heard before, or something that adds on to information that you've heard previously, that's called building, then you're welcome, my friend. You are very welcome. My plan was successful. Yes. Very, very successful plan indeed. I'll paint and make them think I'm just some cool hippie guy, and then I'll hit them with that information. They'll never see it coming. They'll never see it coming. He's just some black hippie. What? Yeah. Don't mind him. He's just some black hippie. Is that like really my phone ringing? What? Hello? Hey. If there's weather, it doesn't look nice outside. I checked the weather and it says it's not gonna rain, but it's like gray and cloudy. It really depends on the weather if I go down there or not. Alright. Alright. Yeah, so I got that last update for the iPhone and I just reset most of my settings, and so I guess I went back to the original ringtone. That just was funny. Yeah, sometimes the iPhone updates seem to mess my phone up for some reason. It's weird. I hate getting those updates.
I stand as myself and speak for myself in myself. That I am not the trustee over the all caps name that you're operating on.
But you're here in court today because you were charged with some charges.
I'm here in court today because I am making a special visitation. This is not an appearance, only spirits appear. Living men, living persons make special visitation. That's why I'm here, to make sure that you guys don't taint my truthful, proper names.
Do you still live at 28 Flying Eagle in Manhattan?
That is a storage unit that I sleep in from time to time.
All right.
I live in myself in this body. I am the living man.
Mr. Falgate, you were here. You were seen by Mr. Cutts on 9/3/13, and you asked, at that time he appointed you a public defender.
Did you apply for the public defender?
What use have I for a voice of rule? They can only speak fictitious legalese to you. I speak natural living man's English to you. It's called common English. That's the only thing that I work in.
That's fine.
There will be no legalese used here.
Well, you were charged on the 31st of August of 2013 with obstructing a police officer in violation of 457302. You were also charged on the same date with resisting arrest in violation of 457301 of the Montana Code.
Those men were charged by me right back by staging an overthrow of the Constitution of 1789, an overthrow of the Bill of Rights, an overthrow of my rights to forage for food as a natural living person who was in Hungary. I was searching for something to put in my stomach, as I am recognized to be allowed to do by universal law. Has nothing to do with your corporate fiction. They violated everything, and furthermore, for your knowledge, they violated Judge Holly Brown's Title 26 United States Code ruling, which I went before her and prevailed on 21st March 2011. EPO 9-58A is the case number wherein she evidenced that I am not a taxpayer because I am not a federal citizen. Federal law trumps state law at every turn. I have 9 judge rulings to that end, and that trumps state law. I am not registered crap. I am the living man, and I have the right to forage for food when I'm hungry.
All right. But you're here on different charges.
That
This
is
is not
what's
Holly
there.
Brown's courtroom.
Ma'am, you can argue this all day long. You're operating on corporate fiction.
I'm telling you, you're here on some charges which were filed in 3rd court.
I do not
Number
understand
one.
those charges.
Number one, you keep interrupting me, and I'm going to charge you with contempt, and you'll go to jail.
Contempt of court is spelled C-O-double-N. I know about conning. That's navigation.
Sir,
Contempt is the storm.
I said, be
Don't
quiet
touch me.
until I get
Don't
through
touch
with
me.
this.
You ain't a gun. Don't
Officer?
you touch me. I am the living man protected by universal law.
You keep
Stand
talking,
down.
and you're going to be charged with contempt, and you're going to go to jail.
You have already contempted this place.
No, I told
By
you
the
I
fraud
would if
you're
you
trying
didn't
to
quit
get done
talking.
here. These are the living witnesses to what you're trying to do.
Very
You
good.
are trying to create a fictitious fraudulent action. You are trying to bilk the Federal Reserve by
Sir.
securitizing in all caps commercialized name
Sir.
and notifying them that they are standing in debt now. If you touch me, you will violate natural law. Do not come near me. I am
Then
protected
shush,
by the land.
shush.
Do not tell me to shut up. I am the living natural man, and my voice will be heard. That is the Jolly Roger. That thing you call the American flag with the gold fringe around it is the Jolly Roger, and you are acting as one of his privateers.
Okay, you're here on charge of arrest.
I'm here by special visitation.
Right. And
I've
you're
never
here
let
on
you get away with
obstructing
this.
a
You bet
police
I'm here.
officer. To each charge could be up to a $500 fine, up to 6 months in jail.
I do not understand any charges. I only understand universal law and the right to live.
Well, you
To live
pled
in
not
peace
guilty.
and to live as I need to.
You pled not guilty in this.
I
court.
never plead. Animals plead. Sound like bah, oink oink.
I have a paper with your signature on it, sir.
It says prime evidence standing right through it. You bring forward all natural forms of evidence that I'm not prime evidence. I am the living soil. The dirt, the water, and the air has its own voice, does it not? It all supports
Sir?
forms of life, does it not? I am a part of that life. I am not your corporate fiction.
Sir,
Do not hinder me.
you're here today on an omnibus hearing. You've already pled not
I am
guilty.
here by special visitation to see to it that you do not tainter my natural living man's name.
Are you prepared
That's
to
why
tell
I'm
the
here.
court if you wish to go to trial on this matter?
This is a trial. Tell
No,
me it's not.
this isn't a trial.
Here's my
This is
jury
an
of my
omnibus
peers.
hearing, sir.
You cannot produce a jury of my peers because all juries are selected from a pool of registered voters, and the instant a person registers to vote, their natural ability as a peer to comprehend natural law has been dissolved and turned into fiction. There cannot be raised a jury of my peers. It cannot be done.
Excuse me for just a moment.
No way. Get back here and finish this. Hey, get back here and finish this. The judge has left the courtroom. There you go.
You what?
Yeah.
There is nobody in this courtroom, and the judge has walked out.
The judge has walked out.
I
Everybody up
said
and
no
out.
excuse.
Everybody up and out.
I'm not letting you
Up and out.
That's it.
Up and out. Up and out. All the man. Get your hand.
Thank you.
She said they'll give you your window of opportunity. You just got to be able to notice the window they give you. And she walked out. Dude was like, yo, you gone, I'm gone. You leaving out, I'm leaving out. That's my window. Deal with it.
Let's go. Get out of here. Let's go. Don't dally. Let's go. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. I don't know. Come on. Where's the driver? Baby.
Ah, that's too good, yo. I love shit like that.
I'm against the paint.
As a
It's not my
constitutionally
obligation, and
oath-
do not point
Yes,
at
you have a constitutional oath to uphold the Constitution, ma'am.
You misunderstand the procedure. I will attempt to
Objection.
explain it to you. The
Objection.
documents that you want are not documents that are in the court's file at this point in time. I don't
Objection,
know
ma'am.
if they would ever be in the court's file at this point in time. If
That's
your
not-
position
that's not my
is,
problem, ma'am.
if you, absolutely it's your problem.
But it- no,
Because
that's
if your
not my
position
problem.
is that you want them from the prosecutor, and you have requested them from the prosecutor.
right.
And the prosecutor has failed to give them to you.
That's right.
You can make the appropriate application to the court, and you can say to the court, I've asked for them, I'm entitled to them, I haven't gotten them, order them to give it to me.
I've already
I have
filed
received
a
no
notarized affidavit of fact in reference to return of property weeks ago. A notarized affidavit. So if you're telling me you don't have to acknowledge affidavits, all right, that's what your statement is. However, bottom line is this court has failed to prove jurisdiction and has avoided the issue of jurisdiction at all costs. And nobody in here has the status. All right? Nobody has proven status, and nobody in here has the authority to proceed. Now, the last hearing we discussed, you stated that
Could you please stop yelling at me?
this matter, you stated, ma'am, for the record, you stated that this matter was relative to jurisdiction, not Mr. Keesler's position here, and not anything else. You stated that you were giving the prosecution a chance to prove jurisdiction, and he's not even the assigned prosecutor to the case, but obviously he's remaining silent, and he has nothing to state. So I move that this case be dismissed.
When there is an appropriate application before this court to address the issue of discovery violations, jurisdiction, or anything else, the court will act. Filing a notarized or not notarized affidavit is not an appropriate way to bring a matter before the attention of the court. What you must file is a notice of motion that sets forth the relief that you want, and it needs to be supported with a certification, an affidavit, whatever it is.
Can you repeat that, ma'am?
Notice of motion. This is
And that-
exactly what I told Cheyenne Matoda Kushner L.
For the record, man, which rule, authority, courtroom rule, statute are you using
It's in the court rules. I do
to
not
address that
recall.
matter?
It is in the court rules. I do not recall, and I'm not going to look up for you the exact court rule, but the court rules set out the procedure that you must follow.
Objection, ma'am. I'm not a part of your society. I'm not subject to your courtroom rules, and you have not proven jurisdiction.
And
Now,
I
you
will
can't
never
prove
address the
jurisdiction.
issue of jurisdiction
Then you-
until and unless the appropriate application is made before the court, because filing either an affidavit that's notarized or an affidavit that's not notarized does not bring it before the attention of this court.
Objection. There's no discretion to ignore the lack of jurisdiction. Joyce versus United States. Jurisdiction is fundamental, and a judgment rendered by a court that does not have jurisdiction in here is void ab initio. and that is application of Y300 P.132 versus KBIT. Once jurisdiction is challenged, the court cannot proceed when it clearly appears the court lacks jurisdiction. The court has no authority to reach merits, but rather should dismiss the action. Melo versus United States 505 F2D. When jurisdiction is challenged, the party invoking jurisdiction has the burden of establishing Boswell versus U.S. Power Light Company. Courts enforcing their statutes do not act judicially but merely ministerially. Thus, no judicial immunity and unlike courts of law do not obtain jurisdiction by service of process, nor even arrest and compelled appearance. I'm here by way of threat and arrest coercion. I'm going to make that clear for the record every time I have to appear here, if I have to appear here. The only reason I'm appearing here is by way of your threat and arrest coercion or your company's threat and arrest coercion.
You can read me, let me interrupt you, please. You can read me this until the cows come home. You can read it ad nauseum and ad infinitum. It doesn't change the fact that until the issue is brought appropriately before this court, no ruling with regard to jurisdiction is ever going to be made. Now, let me ask you this question, though. In the other matter, first of all, let me backtrack a little bit. Let me get the correct number out here because we now have two numbers. In the case with indictment number 08-04-0441, which is the one in which Cheyenne M. Cushing-Murrell is also involved. I have severed those matters, so they will be on completely separate tracks. But he told me that he had filed a notice of removal to the federal court, and my question to you is, have you filed a notice of removal to federal court with regard to any of these matters?
Yes, ma'am. Notice of removal has been filed regarding all matters.
The three matters?
Yes, the three matters that you
may I ask you, please, to tell me, when did you file this?
It was filed last night. FedEx.
To the federal court?
To the federal court.
All right.
Yes.
Now, as I am sure you are aware, if the court accepts them, then we will simply transfer them to the federal court. We won't deal with them anymore.
Okay, well, I'm still sure you're aware of the matter that you've not proven jurisdiction in either of the hearings and that you've avoided addressing the issue of jurisdiction.
And I will continue to not address the issue of jurisdiction until the appropriate motion is filed with the court and the court has the ability to address it and make a determination with regard to it.
And Judge, if I could just for a minute, that's the issue at hand. As currently stands, we are representing...
Objection. You're not representing me.
Therefore, it would be our responsibility to file that motion. Given the fact that he will not cooperate with our office, it's impossible for us to do that.
Objection.
We really need to reach the issue.
I want to get back to what I do want to get back to what Amir KCL said. Now, we addressed the issue to some extent with regard to the indictments. I have here for you, and the record will reflect, that I am giving you a copy of the indictment that has 08-07-0727 and also 08-04-0441.
Objection. Just for the record, the Office of Public Defense is not representing me. We don't have any power of attorney for me, and I'm not part of your society, so you cannot represent me, and we do not share nationalities. Okay, now, for the record, I need the nationality of every agent in here, and I need the name and the information because I'm suing everybody.
Mr. Kramer.
Everybody. So I need everybody's name and your position, starting with you, sir.
Who is calling out from the audience?
I was, ma'am.
No, you were not. Who is? No, do not hand anything over. Nothing. In the audience, please do not call out while court is in session, or the officer will ask you to leave. These are now completely discombobulated. They're not stable. Well,
the one wasn't stable. The one was. I'm afraid to stabilization last one.
No, I don't have look, you can't even read this. Is that what I gave you?
I think so, yes. I give you back the original. You have the copies? Yeah. Give me to her. Okay.
I need your name and position, sir. I need your name and position.
Make a copy of the last account. Make a copy of the last page and bring it in,
Okay.
and we'll staple them together. All right, Noble Amir KCL. You complained about discovery. I think I've addressed that. I'm giving you the copies of the indictments, and you said you've never been interviewed. I am sure that Mr. Kiesler can give you now a date for you to be interviewed.
Objection, ma'am. I do not require the Office of Public Defense or any attorney at law.
Well, you told me that you were complaining that you hadn't been interviewed.
No, what I stated was, if he was representation on this case, he has not provided assistance. If he was representation for this case, the assistance is ineffective.
Well, my understanding is that Judge Smith has required Mr. Kiesler to represent you.
Objection. I've addressed this matter with Judge Smith. Judge Smith does not have jurisdiction and could not prove jurisdiction. Therefore, Judge Smith does not have the authority to make any decisions for me. And neither do you. And neither does Mr. Kiesler, and neither does the Office of Public Defense. For the record. Now, as I stated, you just told me that you did not hear my question. My question was, I need the information for the people here who are attempting to force business on me. I want his name and position, I want her name and position, and I want his name and position, and I want your nationality.
Not to point at me, and I am now going to ask you not to point at anyone else in the courtroom. It is very impolite.
No problem, man. Now I'm asking you to answer my question.
You know my name. That is all you need to know.
I don't know your name, man.
Judge Laban. That is my name.
Your nationality?
You have no need to know my nationality.
Yes, I do. You are attempting to force business upon me. I need to know your nationality. For the record. And your status. For the record. And anybody else that's working with you.
Your questions are unintelligible to me.
They're unintelligible? Do you not understand what nationality means, ma'am? Well, I need to pull out the dictionary. Which dictionary are you comfortable with using, ma'am? For the record.
All right, the record should reflect that I am going to give to Noble Amir KCL, Noble Amir KCL, a copy of Indictment 08-07-0727 and Indictment 08-04-0441.
Objection, ma'am. Could you state for the record who those indictments are addressed to?
Well,
state who you were given to. Objection. Wait, no.
I am handing the papers.
She needs to state for the record.
I am handing the papers to Noble Amir KCL.
I need to know who's on it, ma'am.
It doesn't matter who's on it.
Yes, it does.
Give you copies of papers.
I need to know who's addressed to.
Read it.
If it's not addressed to me,
read it.
You've not read my notarized affidavits.
Read it.
You've not read my notarized affidavits.
Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this matter another date. Mr. Kiesler, you can make whatever application you want. Noble Amir KCL, you can make whatever application you want. Hopefully, in the meantime, we will hear from the federal court with regard to the removal application.
I'm going to just state for the record that your application to do any further proceedings are denied because you have not proven jurisdiction, neither have the prosecution who was here and present. Prosecution, would you state your proof of claim for the record?
Your Honor, would any motion by our office be heard on the next date, or would you set a separate hearing?
No, it will be heard on the next date.
Thank you.
For the record, your application to proceed to set any hearings is denied. It's not proven jurisdiction.
April 6th.
Denied.
Thank you, ma'am. May I be excused, Judge?
This is the only notice that I will give Noble Amir KCL at the April 6th date. I don't know if anyone sends out, I don't know if Mr. Kiesler's office sends out letters reminding people, but I don't, and simply expect that you will be here on April 6th. Please, let me just say this. If you want this court to rule with regard to jurisdiction,
It is very simple to bring the issue before me. All you need to do is file the appropriate application, a notice of motion.
Objection, ma'am.
You can file all these other papers, and it's just never going to happen, sir.
Objection, ma'am. That's not my problem that you're not upholding the law, ma'am. That's not my problem. That's your problem, ma'am. Because whether you people understand or not, you've all fired yourselves. So there is no room to set another hearing because you failed to prove jurisdiction in every hearing that we've had. Judge Smith has failed to prove jurisdiction. You failed to prove jurisdiction. Prosecutor Luciano's failed to prove jurisdiction. You people fired yourselves. I'm letting you know that right now you violated.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Ooh, how much for this one? It ain't even done yet.
Okay, that'd be great. All right, sir, you've had an opportunity to consult.
Yes, ma'am. Just for the record, I'm a Moorish American Aboriginal Indigenous man.
Hold on, I'm going to write this down.
I'm a Moorish American Aboriginal Indigenous man.
You're talking too fast. Moorish American
Aboriginal Indigenous sovereign man. Okay? And as far as jurisdiction, man, according to case law, federal Supreme Court statutes, there is no discretion to ignore lack of jurisdiction. See,
Sir, I'm going to interrupt you because I'm going to repeat what...
You motherfuckers hate when you try to bring up their jurisdiction. Who is giving you authority over this court? Ooh, how much for this painting? Ooh, this painting is
You did not grow up with a Samsung fridge that takes pictures to help you shop. You did not grow up with an LG washer that handles tough and dainty at the same time. And you definitely didn't grow up with fingerprint-resistant black stainless steel or savings and a selection this big.
I'm hungry again.
Nice to be grown up, isn't it? Get Labor Day savings now. Save $500 on this Maytag washer-dryer pair. The Home Depot. More saving, more do it.
I switched to Geico and saved a bunch of money on car insurance.
We now fast forward to the end of this Geico ad so you can get to your video faster.
Next time, let's take the stairs.
Alright guys, I think I'm about to wrap it up for the day. I got some things I need to get done. not sure if I'm gonna go to this damn art show or not. Now that I keep thinking about it, I need to be ready just in case I do go. There's a chance I'll still go. Alright, that's it for me, guys. Appreciate everybody
Alright, tuning in to the streams, yo. All my Facebook friends, all my YouTube friends. Stopping by, checking your boy out while he doing his thing with the art. Like I say, man, let me get some chores and stuff done. I know it's still not done yet, but it's mostly done. Like, it's mostly done, you know? I may have like 1 or 2 more touch-ups. I may lighten up like this portion of his forehead a little bit. I'm not sure yet. It looks good, man. Get some more highlights on his shirt, and then I'll start dealing with her. It shouldn't take too long to put the highlights on her and work on her hair a little bit. I did add some more to his hair. I'm happy, yo. I'm still having fun. I'm still enjoying this painting. I'm having a good time painting this thing. I think it's gonna be really dope when it's done. So today I did work on his face, his lips, the collar of his shirt, some of his shirt around his chest area, and his hair. Not a lot, didn't get a lot done, but like I say, I'm a slow painter, hey. But later this evening or tomorrow, I'll start working on her a little bit more. So, alright guys, peace, until next time. Get all this stuff turned off.